How's it going, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Voltron review. It's been a while since I reviewed a Voltron, several years actually. But I saw this little Voltron and I was very enticed. And first of all, before I get too far into this, I do want to thank the Supreme Collector. He sent me these figures super fast, and it's always been a pleasure working with this guy. So go ahead and hit up his website, supremecollector.com. But anyhow, so I picked up this Microcosmos Elvis figure. No, Lucky, I don't know. Anyhow, I picked up this figure, and it was these little Voltrons, and I happen to like Voltron. I'm not like the type of guy who's seen like every episode or something like that, but you know, I have fond memories of watching it as a kid, so I'd like to have a Voltron. I don't currently have the Soul Chigokin Voltron anymore because I got rid of that for reasons, but so I picked these things up. I really like those 52 Toys, like Beast Box and stuff like that, where they've got all the, you know, robots and animals and stuff like that that turn into little cubes and fit in the box. And it showed these with a 52 Toys box. And so I thought that this was an actual, honest to God, 52 Toys thing. They are not. This one loosely fits in that box. This one is much smaller than the box size. And this one fits snugly, as it should, as you'd expect the official thing to do, but of course this is not the official one. So they do fit in those boxes, one of them loosely, one of them really loosely, and one of them nicely. But they are nice little, I mean, the box form is not necessary by any stretch of the imagination. It's kind of cute, but you know, you can stack these up and go like that and get yourself a little like shrine thing if you want. That's one of the things that they advertise. But yeah, it's an awful cute little figure. I mean, I looked at the size of it and I knew that it was going to be like little tiny lions, and this is certainly the smallest Voltron I've ever owned or seen that like does all of the stuff plus some. And so, well, let's get into its transformation real quick. So we're going to start with the blue and the yellow lion. We're just going to separate them like so. They've got little pegs that attach onto them. I'm going to take this peg and transfer it right there. Now they don't fit together, but you know, I'm not fitting them together. I'm taking them apart. So you want to take this leg, this foot down, a leg, body. You know, it's different things in different modes. We're turning him to a lion, so that's his body. Straighten it all out. Take this and disconnect it from his underside. You want to take this little part here, push that out, extend out his tail, and close that back up. The legs will just come around like so. The legs are on like a little hinge here with the ball joint on the outside, so they do have a fair amount of lateral movement, which is good for nice little wide stance lion poses. Which is a lot better than pretty much every Voltron from my childhood. And let me get this other one transformed up real quick. Just the same process. They are almost even the exact same sculpt. I'll pull this out. Tail, legs. And the front body, upper body, forward body. This little section here is on like a ball joint on a hinge. It's actually on a couple hinges. You can take that, and there's a tab in here. That tab will fit into a little slot to kind of, you know, bring that all together like rigidly if you'd like. It's an option. You can do that. And these guys are pretty much the same. The only real difference is, of course, the molding here. And then, like, this little detail on the back. But, like, the heads, oh, they look like they're the same. And, of course, everything else looks the same. Some of the things that I like about these is, so these black pins, you can see the black pins here, are for keeping these things together. It's like a metal pin that's inserted to make a smooth but firm joint in between those parts. But these spaces here, you see them down there, I understand that these are like system injected parts, where they use two dissimilar plastics to, they mold one set and they transfer it to a new mold and mold the second set around it. And then it makes it so that you snip it off the runner and it's a functional movable part, like right off the runner. Bondi's been doing that sort of thing for decades now, but it's kind of a swanky thing that I always like seeing that. But anyhow, so their heads go up and down in terms of posability. Their mouth opens and closes. This lower jaw is a die-cast piece. If you disconnect that ball joint, like I mentioned, you can get some lateral movement in the body if you want, or you can peg that together as intended, whichever. Legs are on ball joints here, and they will rotate. This one doesn't really want to rotate, does it? So they're on a ball joint inside here. And that ball joint is on a hinge, and there's a cut in the top of that ball joint to keep it from moving all around. But unless you move that out, let me see if I can get that to go. Unless you move that out, it doesn't, that cut in the ball joint wants to restrict. Yeah, see, I got to move that like all the way out there to get that to go forward. And it's kind of a pain in the ass to move out that far. But, you know, I guess if you do that, you get the full motion of this arm, and also it increases the like cross section of the lion. Unfortunately, if you do that, if you pull it out, you restrict the motion of that ball joint, and you can only get this, and it will angle like a little bit, but it won't really go out much. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But you've got joints in the legs here and here and here and here, and you get similar motion on the back leg. This one's actually got some like flex in the claw as well, and a couple little joints in the tail. This tail is made of the same system injection technique as well. And then you can take a little gun and attach it onto his side like so if you want. So that everything gets used, nothing gets wasted. Let's put these guys aside. I'll bring them back out in a moment. And let's look at these lines here. Now these ones are not attached to each other, but they are attached into like this assortment of all of their other little accessories. And you just kind of pull them out. There's a single hole right here on the underside of the lion and a single peg right there. Oh yeah, and when you unpeg this, there's a single peg that goes through the bottom of his jaw, basically. And you want to fold this all the way out. And then you just want to extend the legs and extend these legs. And then open this up and bring out his tail, and I need a little tool for that. And then you want to take this connection point and bring it around and put it up just like that. And there you have one of the other arm lions. And let's get this other guy transformed up real quick. Just detach that. Fold out the legs. Fold out the leg. Bring out the tail. Fold away his ding-dong. This is the green lion, so this is Pidge's lion. Maybe it's her ding-dong. I don't know. I'm not an expert when it comes to the personal anatomies of Voltron lions. And again, these are basically the same mold, except for the number on the top, which again I'm told is inaccurate, but... And they have ball joints in the hip joint here, a single joint here, joint here, and then a flex on their foot for the back leg, and the front leg is mostly the same. You got a ball joint. This comes out on a little slider, so you can slide that out to get a little more body and cross section to that lion. Joint here, joint here, joint here, and nothing in the foot. And then for the body itself, you've got some side to side afforded by this joint, and then a little bit you can fold this as much as you want, but you can fold it a little to get some motion out of it without like really ruining the sculpt much. Up and down motion on the neck, and the mouth opens. The bottom jaw is die cast, and I believe that's the only die cast part on these little arm lions. Again, not enough to give it any kind of, real mass. These are basically like legend scale Voltrons, so. Oh, and to get this part, so we just pull this off. Pull off, there we go. Pull this off, turn these out, and disconnect them from there. And this doesn't get used anywhere in the lions, so we're just going to throw that to the side. This gets plugged into there, and we'll put this to the side. And you can put these on the Voltron as their little weapons on the lions. Get them more centered. Well, there's that. Let me sit these to the side and get the last guy out. So this one here, to transform him up, you want to disconnect. There's little tabs that hold these in. Disconnect those out. These legs are not connected to anything, so you just kind of pull them out. They get folded up in such a way that the toes face inwards. That keeps them from, taking up more space out here. But you can rotate them around. Get these skirt armors out of the way. And this one as well. Then you want to take these and extend them out. That'll give you room to fold these wings up. And then you're going to slide this part. Well, you don't slide this part here, you actually slide the body forwards. Like so. That disconnects this tab from here. Spin it around. And then while you've got this, you can take and rotate the body around And you'll need to move it back and forth a little bit to get it to go. But move this around until his body faces forwards. These you can spin around. Actually, we're going to spin them like so. Because then we're going to close them back up and get his legs out. These skirt armors you want to push up like that. And then pull his legs out. And out like that. Then bring these in. A little bit of the fans toy squeak there. That came off, it just pegs right in. It's a removable weapon, so it's not even meant to be permanent. Bring his skirt armors, his rear skirt armors out just a little bit. That allows you to fold this in, and then this whole thing will slide in like that. Oh, that came out as well. Well, we'll put it back on in a moment. Bring his tail out. Bring these legs down like so. You want to fold these skirt armors up against the sides of the body. And then bring this back, and he still needs a head. So we're going to open up this chest section here, pull this out, bring his head around, look up. And just for chuckles and grins, I will put these back on. And extend these out. And those are his weapons. And you can position them like this, or you can turn around and position them like that. They are largely the same. A lot of interesting sculpting on that. I kind of like them. And for articulation on this guy, let me get his wings facing somewhere sensible. For articulation on this guy, he's got a few joints in his tail. His legs are on these universal joints here, but they don't want to go any far further, any forward. So you got to kind of angle these back a little bit to get some knee bend in there. And I don't know, I mean, to be honest, all of my life I've always felt that the black lion was kind of the weakest lion of the lot. And as a lion, it certainly is. And this is no strange case to that. But you've got a number of joints in here, but they're not all useful to the articulation of this lion mode. Like, they'll move up, but why? That doesn't gain you anything. So I just kind of angle his legs back a little bit. And you've got a joint that's in here, and a joint that's right here that doesn't move a whole lot. And then a joint here, and then a joint down here, and then another joint here. And so between all of these, you can get a little bit of proper stance to them. Oh, of course, also this part turns around and swings out. So you still get a fair amount of posability. Just, I wish that there was a way to move these legs up more, so that you can maybe have him crouch a bit more. Head is on a ball joint, and his mouth opens naturally. Though it's all black, so good luck seeing it in this light. One of these days, I'm going to replace my my light with some actual real lights. Now there are hinges here on these little weapons. You can actually bring them up and have them be sticking more up, which is nice if you want to get them to angle in such a way, or to stick up a bit more to be more prominent, or if you put them up, then you can get them to point more straight if you want. So good to have some options. So let's bring all these guys out. And there is the Voltron team all together. And they look pretty good. They are some good looking lions. I mean, they're certainly not the worst looking lions I've seen. I like them. It's a fun little set. But anyhow, let's get them finally transformed into their Voltron mode. So we'll start just from left to right. So to get this guy transformed up, you just put his arms away like so. Bring his legs around and curl his foot around the hip joint like so. And that'll go like that. And again with this other leg, curl his foot around the hip joint, and then you can have this basically, I mean basically this ball joint is at the middle here, so you can put it wherever you want. I think that it looks best and works best if you've got it so that this diagonal is here and your joint is facing in like that. Fold up his tail. And there's one. We'll do the same for this guy real quick. Fold up the leg, curl that around, put it in position, curl that around, put it in position, bring out his arm joint, fold up the tail, and then for this guy, you're going to put it basically like you're starting to go back into the cube mode. Which somebody on Facebook was commenting that the cube mode is completely superfluous, and they are correct. It is completely useless, but it's kind of, you know, it's kind of fun. It's kind of a cute little addition, you know? Now you want to bring his head up, bring these arms down and around like so. And you want to keep this part separate. I'll fold up his tail real quick. And then take this part here, bring that out, fold it in on itself, and close it up like that. And there's a leg all done. And we'll do the other one real quick too. Fold up the tail. Fold this onto itself. Put the legs away. Bring the head up and disconnect this joint. Bring these arms all the way in. I do want to put this like so. And then for this one here, we'll disconnect these weapons entirely. Take his tail, fold it up and around like so. Bring the legs down. Straighten these out. Bring the hip skirts down. Bring these skirts down. Take his leg, his arm, fold it around like so. You want to tuck it into this little spot here. And then straighten that out. Bring this around, tuck it into that spot. Bring out his wings. And then you want to open this mouth all the way. And then get in there with your fingernail and pull out his face. And then bring out his ears. And to get these all connected up, we're just going to take this leg. There's little 2 tabs on the side of his legs here, and there's slots. One of these days I'm going to get myself a light that you can actually see things with. There's slots inside there. I'm just going to slide those into the slots. Like that. And then just plug these in to these holes here. Super simple, easy peasy. And there you have the Microcosmos Elvis in his Voltron mode. And it's a fairly handsome looking Voltron. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention there's die cast in his thighs here too. It's a fairly handsome looking Voltron. It's pretty clean from the back. It's pretty nice. So it's clearly based more or less off of the I forget the name of the company that makes. There's a company out there that makes a Voltron called the King of Beast or something like that, and it's a non-transforming Voltron action figure. So it's got a good amount of posability, but to get the good posability, they sacrificed the individual line modes. And it's a handsome looking Voltron. So, and I think that this is primarily based off of that. You can see a lot of the sculpt, you know, in the legs and the arms and the chest and whatnot. So, kind of interesting. This is all completely third party, so I don't know if they asked anybody's permission for that. Your, you know, opinions on third party being what they will. So, in terms of accessories for this mode, he's got his blazing sword, which we saw earlier. There's a little slot, there's a little hole inside of the mouth of either lion, and you can put that in there. And for the other one, we can use his buckler. We'll just stick that into that same little hole. This sits really far away from his arm. I don't really like that. So I typically don't use the little star buckler thing anyhow. But, you know, I never really did. When I had the Solo Chigokin one, I never really had that on much either. Looks really good. Not all the joints are as tight as they could be, but it's not like floppy or anything like that. You know, it's fairly well done. There is one major thing about this that I don't like, and let me get into his posability, and I'll explain it all to you. So his head is on a ball joint that looks left and right and up and down. If you look too far up, then it's more noticeably hollow on the underneath of his neck. So, and then there is a little bit of his this transformation joint, so you can get some giggity if you really want to. Though I will point out that, you know, once you get outside of that range, his head just kind of flops around. Because, you know, it's meant to fit in this range, not, you know, far beyond that. He does have basically what accounts to a big old butterfly joint. A lot forward, but, you know, not a whole lot back because the wing gets in the way. If the wing wasn't in the way, you can move it back like so. His arm does go all the way around, and it goes out for the full tree. There is no bicep swivel, and honestly, I find that to be kind of inexcusable. Because looking at this, I can look at how easily they could have put that in there without changing the parts count, without changing anything critical about this. They could have really easily made it so that it had a bicep joint, and I can't imagine why. And I've been looking for if there's some way, because I do get a little bit of just a little bit of motion on this. Not motion per se, but like I feel like this joint slides out a bit. Like I was thinking, one of my prevailing theories was that it like moved into lock and then like slid out to make motion on that joint, but that's not how it works at all. It's just, I don't know. It would have been really easy to design this to have a bicep swivel. It wouldn't have cost them any extra parts in the parts count, and it wouldn't have cost them any extra plastic. It just would have been a little bit of engineering. And maybe they thought about it and there's something that I don't see, but you know, if I can see a way to fix it, they should have seen a way to fix it. So that's how I feel about that. He does have a waist rotation, about that much. I mean, if you are willing to move this back and forth, you can rotate it all the way around if you really want to, but there's no need. He's got little skirt armors that move out on all. This one likes to pop off. Now, these are just on with the little mushroom pegs on these back ones here. So kind of be careful on that, especially since there's not really the clearance for that one. And his leg goes all the way forward, all the way back, goes out for the full Van Damme. Actually, it goes more than the full Van Damme. As you can see, this is not, at least in this range here, it's not the tightest, but like it's much tighter in this range. Like I can hold it out until it gets to be about there, which is fine. I'm not going to nitpick that too heavily. Thigh swivel here, basically double jointed knee at the double jointed bend at the knee. Ball jointed ankles, allowing you for a little bit of rotation back and forth and up and down. If you feel like you don't have enough heel support on him, you can take these legs and you can like move them back like this. And now you have more ankle joint. But yeah, I'm not going to do that right now. I like the way it stands just fine. But yeah, it's a really cool looking little Voltron. And I mean, of course, it's not scaled with anything. I mean, here it is with a Legend scale Optimus Prime. And of course, Optimus Prime is like, you know, this tall on the actual Voltron. I know a lot of people like to talk, oh, who would win in a fight? Devastator or Voltron? Well, there he is next to the New Age Devastator. Granted, if these were the same scale, Devastator would, like, you know, come up to his shin, maybe. Devastator is, you know, one punt away from getting, you know, destroyed. So, I mean, it doesn't scale with anything, but it's a handsome looking Voltron. It displays fairly well. It looks awful cute because of its diminutive size, and it doesn't take up a ton of shelf space. So for me, this is an absolute win. I do wish that it had a bicep swivel, but you can kind of cheat on that a little bit, because while it doesn't have a wrist rotation either, you can just move this in and out. No wrist rotation. It does have a rotation just below the elbow, and I think that works. You know, so you can bring this in for some, you know, angled defensive or offensive poses. You can bring this in if you need to. And, like, you can get around it. It's not ideal, but, you know, it's not like a complete deal breaker either. I'm not going to, like, run out and sell this because, oh, it doesn't have a bicep swivel. But anyhow, that's my review of this figure. That's my thoughts. Thanks everyone for watching. You guys are fantastic, and I will catch you later. Have a good day and be good to each other. See ya.